Voice from above finally pipes in. I was talking to myself. Item number 2 is items from the chairman. We have a recommendation coming from the Development Water Use Committee, and we'll have an explanation about that from the chairman of that committee later on in the agenda. Do we have any other updates on any committees? I know MAP 3 is not meeting this month. Is that right, Brian?
No, we're not meeting this month, and last meeting's month was just another update on Whitewater, and right now it's still looking positive. Even with all the water, it seems like they're staying in good shape.
Good. Item 3 is the meeting minutes from the July 21st meeting. Have any changes or correction?
Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item 4 is a consent docket. We have the sand mining, oil, and the oil and gas revenue, and the river events update. Any
Move
questions
approval
on
of
those?
both items. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously.
I do have a question that I would like to ask. On the river corridor events, I noticed that we do not have a date for the holiday parade. I don't understand that.
Yes, it originally was, I think it was in last month's notice as being the Friday after Thanksgiving, but I understand the promoter of that event is now just trying to decide whether he wants to continue doing there or maybe move it to another, like a Saturday or a Sunday or something. So it's going to happen. He just hasn't firm set the date yet.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Item 5 is the primary agenda items. Item A is receive the Oklahoma River Maintenance Projects update. Paul, you're going to do that for her?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. We have 2 primary items on the Oklahoma River Maintenance Report this month. Item number 1 is a quick update on our river maintenance facility. The SPUD for the building location was approved on the 2nd of July by the Scenic River Overlay Design District with an effective date of September 3rd. We anticipate that the Planning Commission will issue a certificate of appropriateness also on September 3rd with an effective date of September 17th. Here's an aerial photograph of the location. It's immediately adjacent to the COTPA facility there at the Exchange Landing. We expect to receive bids for the facility in October and start construction in late November of this year. Right now, our current estimate for the facility is right at $1.9 million. Item number 2 is an update on the SCADA system upgrade at the May Avenue Dam. If you remember at previous meetings, I had indicated back in 2013 we began the process of actually updating the SCADA system at all 3 of the river dams. We started with the Eastern Dam, and then 2 years ago we did the Brum Dam, and then this year we just completed the May Avenue upgrade. It's a total redo of all the electronics, the communication system, so now we have the latest and greatest systems there. We have noticed now that the May upgrade has been completed that our number of alarms, our number of phantom alarms that we used to get when really there was nothing happening have almost all but been eliminated. So it's a drastic improvement, and we really don't anticipate having to do another upgrade for several more years. So we're in really good shape, and the SCADA system also controls the gates on the dam, but it also controls the 2 locks at May and Brum Dam also. So it's a huge improvement. That's really the only items I have. I have one update. Beginning next week, we will begin the process of replacing the final 4 hydraulic cylinders on the Brum Dam. We anticipate that'll take no more than about 2 days, and when that is complete, we will have replaced all 30 cylinders on all 3 dams over the last 18 months. And we don't anticipate having to do anything for at least 24 to 36 months, and we really shouldn't have to replace any cylinders for probably the next 5 years. We're going to run some pressure testing in about 24 months to make sure all the cylinders are still in good shape, but unless we have an issue, we should be in really good shape for quite some time. We will be, sometime between now and the end of the year, we will be doing a complete hydraulic fluid change out at the Brum Dam. And what we've noticed is that a lot of our issues that we had with the cylinders had to do with dirty fluid, contaminated fluid. So now we're also on a regular schedule to replace that fluid, actually clean the holding tank that's in all 3 of the control houses at each of the dam on a very regular schedule. So as I said, we'll be undertaking that process at the Brum Dam sometime between now and the end of the calendar year. So with that, I can entertain any questions.
Is there any thing going to happen during the winter that we're going to have to lower any of the lakes at all?
We will be, that's a great question. We are planning on undertaking the structural repairs that we wanted to do last winter, and we're going to do that at the May Avenue Dam first, right? Yes. Yeah. We're going to start that at the May Avenue Dam, and we anticipate doing that as soon as all activity on the river ceases in December. We're going to actually advertise the contract and have it awarded and have the work order in place. So as soon as, all the activity stops on the river, we'll have to lower both the May Avenue Basin and we'll have to lower the Brum Basin a little bit because they have to have access to the downstream side of the dam to do a complete, there's a bunch of concrete work that needs to do, and then there's a bunch of painting that we need to do. So we'll have to lower both, the upstream and the downstream side.
But the eastern basin will remain full.
It'll remain full at this time. Now, keep in mind, we have structural repairs contemplated at all 3 dams. We're just doing the upstream dam first, and hopefully the next year we can do the Brum Dam and then the eastern dam, because the dams are getting, I think the Brum Dam is at least 15 years old now. So we've got some work to do.
Any other questions? Need a motion to receive the report?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Item B is to receive the unaudited interim financial statements for the period ending June 30. Have any questions on the financial statements? Motion to receive.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item C is to recommend to the Oklahoma City Council to adopt an ordinance relating to park, recreation, cultural affairs, amending Section 38-728, Article 10, Division 2 of Chapter 38, pertaining to animals generally. This is the item I discussed earlier. Kathy, you want to explain the committee's work on this?
Yes. The Land and Water Use Committee just met prior to our trust meeting, and we discussed this Section 38-728 regarding the ordinance that prohibits any person except for authorized employees from riding or driving any animal upon the North Canadian corridor. And this was brought about because, as you're aware, City Care has been out at Crystal Lake for a couple of years, maybe 3 years now. And they provide lots of activities for children and different groups, Boy Scouts, etc. And it is their wish to, at some point, have horseback riding. And our ordinance at this time prohibits that from happening. And so the committee has recommended that we approve this recommendation to update the ordinance to allow individuals and groups to be able to ride in designated areas, horseback riding.
Each area would have to be approved for that specifically. This is not a blanket approval at this time for the entire river. It's just given the authority to do that. And it's my understanding that we'll send this on to council, and once council passes it, then there will be a designation for Crystal Lake. I'm sure would want the approval on that, and that area would have to be approved by resolution.
Yes.
And then others could be approved as needed as we go down the line.
That's the recommendation from the Land and Water Use Committee.
Okay? Any questions? We need a motion, the committee.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. Let's approve unanimously. Item D is to recommend to the council approve a revocable permit for Rugged Races LLC for the Rugged Maniac 5K on October 3rd.
Conjures up all kinds of image, Mr. Chairman. Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
I noticed that the permit starts September the 25th, which is the week before, and expires on October the 3rd. How long does it take to set up?
I don't know. Do we have anybody here from there?
I don't see the applicant, but I am aware there is a time to move in and set up. They have course that the people have to run to go through. There are obstacles. Some of the obstacles are actually mud pits that have to be dug out and prepared, and water has to be put in them. The permit requires them to return the land in the condition in which they found it prior to moving out. So the extended dates are for move in and move out.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item 6 is the claims. Need a motion on the claims docket.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Cast your vote. It's approved unanimously. Item 7 is additional items, comments by staff. Pat, anything on your Director of Development report?
Just a couple of items to call to your attention. One being that we are working diligently with our sand mining operator about the possibility of a second mine. We've made some significant progress visiting with both major state universities, Oklahoma State and the University of Oklahoma, regarding their relative interests on doing something on the North Canadian or the Oklahoma River. Very positive in both cases. And then would call your attention that the Oklahoma Regatta Festival is set for October 1st through 4th. That's the festival that involves various kinds of rowing, kayaking, almost from masters and corporate all the way to the more elite levels of athletes and the juniors, the youth. So I would certainly want you to mark those dates. There will be passes available for trustees to come and see the layout when it actually takes place. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Any questions for Pat? Motion to receive his report
So moved.
and a second. Cast your vote. Passes. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Any other comments by trustees? Any citizens wishing to be heard? Wow, we are adjourned.